Good morning. Good morning. Welcome back. Hope everyone had a good holiday, or if you're celebrating, hope it was a good one. If you weren't celebrating, hope you had just a good day off of work or a good way to recharge the batteries and stay away from the charts for a day. And then now get ready to close off the year. So we got our last 4 days of trading for the rest of the week. And thank you for joining. Thanks for being here with us. So I think it's important that we take a peek at this morning just to make sure we understand what happened and what our expectations were. Let me just pull up the charts here for a second. All right, looks like we got quite a reaction at 9:30. In the absence of news today, I did take a peek. So there's let's see there. So there's nothing today. Let's see about tomorrow. Okay, just orange folders for the rest of the week. One at 10 o'clock tomorrow, 8:30 and 10 o'clock on Thursday, and 9:45 on Friday, but no red folders. So let's just see what that does to the charts for the rest of the week. I can't remember a week where we didn't have at least one red folder. All right, first things first, let's do sort of a top-down analysis on the charts. I think it's important that we start with the dollar. Just come up with sort of an expectation of where we think the dollar's heading. So we've already started the week, the weekly candle. It's only made a little bit of movement so far. Let me see if I can't make that a little larger. But we've seen the last two candles dig and make new lows. So there's no reason why we wouldn't expect this candle also to make new lows. And we see down, we have equal lows here. Oops, I was supposed to be hiding that. So we have equal lows right in this location from the week of July 10th and July 17th. So I would call that the draw on liquidity. I mean, we do see price making new lows each week, except for occasionally a pullback. So because of that, we're going to look for lower prices on the dollar, and that's going to then have us look for higher prices on the commodities. So if we switch over to Nasdaq, Nasdaq has, with the exception of this week right here, has been pushing for higher prices each week. We made the pass of this swing high quite some time ago. We made it really with this December 11th large bullish candle here. And then the last week did make a new high. It wasn't nearly as large of a range as the previous week, but we were aware that it was the week before Christmas, and the larger objective of taking out this swing high had already been met by this candle. So now it'll be interesting to see where this candle takes us. We obviously are still looking for a new high. I would say if we get a new high prior to making any type of down movement or any type of wick, we may see the week close off bearish, either moving into this fair value gap or even below. But I would say our objective for the week is still to make a new high. Unfortunately, we're pushing for that earlier in the week, which is not exactly what we were looking for. We would expect with a power of 3 for there first to be a movement down, create the down wick, and Tuesday, Wednesday, come back above equilibrium and then start pushing for higher prices for the rest of the week. So that's sort of my high level. What I think is going to happen this week. And remember, the high is at 17,074. The high of all time is around 17,700. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. Let me just get that exact value for you. 17,709. All right. So we look on the daily. There's a fair value gap here it could slide into. There's even a small area it can get in here if it wants to sell off that much. That's probably a little strong to get down here, 1,000 points. So I would say fair value gap right here, or one of the ones right in here. Maybe where it goes to if it sells, sweep this low, drop into a fair value gap, and then buy out. Okay. The 4 hour. It's a couple fair value gaps down that it could play into. Again, down in the 16,500 range, 16,600. Let's go back to the weekly and let's take a peek over at ES. ES has the same thing. It's already been buying up so far since the open yesterday evening, racing towards the high of last week, which would then give it a new high for this year. We do have a large fair value gap here and another one down here, which is probably a bit far, but this one is for sure in play. So throughout the week, we'll want to pay attention to that. We can also see it here on the daily, just below the lows of early last week. Let's get down into the hour. Right, see down here, 47 in the 30s, 47 30s. It's a good place for price to settle if it was looking for a retracement prior to reaching for new highs. So that's sort of a high level look at where I think the markets are and where they're going. But we need to drop down to a lower time frame and just catch up to where things are now and look to see if we get a setup this session. But until we identify that setup, I want to thank you for being here. I know it's just the holidays and got plenty of other things to do, but thanks for being here. Yeah, if we just pay attention, I guess we didn't get down to these low time frames. But I'm taking a peek. Let me just move up to the 5 minutes, probably a little easier. Just wanted to show where we've been this morning. We take a peek at the 5 minute chart. Yeah, so at the opening from yesterday, we saw a big spike and bullish momentum all the way all the way up to 17,030. So it was about an 80-point move upwards, small retracement, and now we've just eclipsed that up to 17,050. So now we're looking at about a 100-point move from the opening of yesterday. So let's keep that in mind. If we see any type of retracement like we saw here, it's not necessarily a reversal, but it was just a retracement from the move from the opening from the 80 points. So it was a retracement of nearly about half of it. About half of yesterday evening's move has already been retraced, and now we just saw that high eclipse. So let's just see if price wants new highs. And if it does, then we'll go with the premise that it's going to be bullish, at least for the next hour or so. And we'll start looking for those kind of setups. Otherwise, if we don't see new highs and it just continues to trade in the zone, then we'll look to see and try to be nimble and decide whether it's going to be a bullish continuation or it's going to be a bearish reversal. Ennis, good morning. Good morning. Chris, welcome back. Good morning. Yeah. Yeah, it definitely seemed like it was pretty bullish yesterday evening. um, yeah, there's a couple people. I follow a guy named T Trades. He's been probably the easiest for me to understand. Um, yeah, ICT. His videos are really long, so you got to have a lot of time. I mean, hours upon hours upon hours. He'll easily give you 10 hours of videos to watch per week if you follow his curriculum. So yeah, I would say let me look and see if there's anyone else I can find pretty quickly. Yeah, I would say T Trades is probably the one I watch the most. Uh, Casper, I think it's Casper SMC is another. I say these three guys make videos about ICT. It's pretty easy to follow and usually pretty quick, around 10 minutes or so. All right, I think we're around 20 points away from last week's high. Yep, 17,074, 75. So we're around 25 points away. If we do get a run up, we could see a pause around that time. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So the Judas swing, power three, they're kind of the same thing. But yeah, that's ICT talks a lot about that. I'm not sure exactly if that's his principle that you use. But he always talks about the Judas swing happening early during the London session, where it gives you the fake direction, and then it pivots and makes a strong move the other way. Nice. Excellent. 1 to 2 trade. That's sweet. Good job. Yep, there is actually. Actually, I have it down in the bottom left. There sure is. But the one I think you were just talking about, oops, right here. Yeah, I'm trying to debate whether I think we're going long and whether that would be a good entry, or if I should expect price to crash through and we'd be looking for something lower. Get rid of some of these lines that were left over from last session. We'll say price is actually just kind of moping around so far since we started at 10 o'clock. So let's give it a few more minutes to settle in here and to show us which direction it's heading. All right, so we saw this last candle make a new high, but then before the closure, it traded right back down to where the previous open was. So let's just give it a couple more candles to see if it's actually going to reach for last week's high or if it's not. Just a couple minutes before the half hour. You go and refill my coffee. Be right back. Okay, so I see so now we have a new high of today, but also traded right back into the zone prior to the closure of the candle. So we're still kind of in the same limbo position we were in before. And it's just now getting to 10:30, so maybe we'll get some relief soon. $9.53. Okay, I see fair value gap here. Trade into it. First couple candles looked like it was moving in your direction, and then it just kind of faded at the other direction. Good place to short. Let's see. Oh, okay. Oh, excellent, Annis. Sweet. Well, let's see if this one works out for us. We can get a push downwards. See nice low hanging fruit down around 17 even. All right, let's see how this candle closes. Man, let's not be a lot of volume today. I mean, I know I expected volume to be low, but mhm. Like to welcome all newcomers to the live stream. Those who just today is your first day visiting, welcome to the channel. We've been doing this for about a month now, so it's good to see the growth and good to see new energy in the room. So I just want to make sure I reached out to all the new people who haven't been before, and for all the returning members. Thank you for coming back. Let's see what kind of session we can have today and for the rest of the week. I know it's going to be a slightly different just because it's the week between Christmas and Thanksgiving, but I want to thank you for being here with me. Oh, Thanksgiving. Sorry. Between Christmas and New Year. Sorry. Christmas and New Year. Sorry, Dylan. Appreciate it. All right. Looks like this one is turning against me. Hey, I make mistakes all the time. Thanks for jumping in there, Dylan. Appreciate it. All right. So that one did turn against me. Okay. New high of the day put in. Let's see now if it goes and races up for the weekly high from last week. I'll be right back. All right, I see while I was gone, price just traded right back into the same zone that we were in before. Makes a new high and then it retraces. So let's see what the next couple of candles bring us. But it seems like it's struggling to get up to last week's high, even though it appears to be the target, but it's just struggling to get up there. So we'll continue to watch price. I haven't seen anything that's going to put us back into bearish. I've looked for a short just a while ago for anyone who was already on the feed. It was right in here. We got an impulse candle that shifted market structure. We had a fair value gap built in. It traded back into it, and so I looked for a short, even though it continued up and made a new high. So that took me out of that trade. So for now, I still believe that this weekly high is going to be the target, but I'm not going to enter a trade I guess in the next few minutes or so. Probably not until after this hour completes. I just want to let price continue to deliver. I may not even take another trade until this afternoon. Coming off of a holiday, sometimes price action can be a little fickle, and it's a worthwhile call to just sit back and watch for a bit. All right, let's see if price crashes through the swing low from 1030. Okay, and now it has. All right, so it looks like the short I was looking for just was a bit early. We'll see how far it goes. Originally, when I was looking at a short, I was thinking about somewhere in this area as a target. I mean, obviously, each of these swing lows are easier targets, so you'll reach there first. 1730, 1726, all of them have been taken out already. But now it's just these last two down at around 17,000 flat. Exactly. It's always going without us. Okay, we'll catch you in on the next one. Hey, good morning, mathematical genius. Welcome back. Yeah, yeah, I see it's in the 15 right here. It came down, tapped into it. That was one reason I was wondering if it was worth staying out trying to chase the short. And then let's see the 5 minute. Okay, same thing. Yeah, that fair value gap may actually be what pushes into that weekly high of 17,073. Yep. Yeah, Chris. Today is actually a good idea to at least wait out the morning session and just let price do what it does and get ready for the afternoon session. And at least previous times have always worked out better for me to wait for the next session. I mean, some people skip today altogether. And I'm not saying that you need to do that, but a lot of times skipping the morning session is healthy. I think this is on the 1 minute. Yeah, it is. Okay. Okay, so you got to trade out of here. Okay. Good deal. Well, you got an easy target of 1760. And the next one's 73. All right. Good job. On a short here so bad, but I'm not going to. Back up to the higher time frame. So we'll just pay attention to the 5-minute and the 15-minute as we gear up for any type of setups we're looking for. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, on the lower time frame, it did bounce off the 20 EMA that you're discussing. Yep. Sierra charts. I don't think I've ever heard of Sierra charts. Okay. All right. All right. Well, good luck. Let us know how it goes, Chris. Okay, let's see if price just wants to retest this fair value gap. I'll go ahead and mark up 50% of the wick just in case that's as far as it goes. All right. So far, still struggling to decide whether it's going to short or not. I know Ennis was in a long, and price was moving in his direction for a bit. Now it's just kind of waiting around. So we'll give it a few more minutes. The 1050 to 1110 macro should be finished running in a couple minutes. And maybe that's when price will move. But for now, I have breaker and a bearish fair value gap marked up on the screen here. And so I'm believing that price is going to move lower. But just in a few minutes, we'll see exactly which direction it's going. Oh, okay. That's gapped up $1. Oh, sweet. Good comeback. Okay, so now the macro's done. Let's see if price either seeks new highs or new lows. Gold? Oh man, I don't think I've ever looked at gold, but I could give it a whirl. Let's see. All right, let's see what we got. All right, so on the weekly. Okay, so it looks like gold reached its all-time high a few weeks ago. Still got a area here, this big wick here that it needs to play into. So I would say gold is at least bullish to around this area, 2107, 2106, and some change, somewhere in the 50% range of this wick. Let's see. We do see a retracement for gold. This will be where you would expect it to go. So you have one swing low there and another swing low. Long term would be in this area and then potentially turn back bullish. See, short term, you look at this fair value gap. All right, now down to the hourly. So in the last couple days, so we did see gold trying to make a new high. It got caught up in this fair value gap and started to sell, which would then target this low here. But I would say that gold, being a commodity, should follow similar to what we're looking at in Nasdaq, ES, and the other commodities. As long as the dollar is seeking lower prices, we're going to be looking for higher prices in the commodities. So I would do the same with gold. But in the short term, it does look like gold potentially could be seeking its low. Although there are a bunch of equal highs here. So it could make a big push up and take out all these highs en route to getting this high. And then if we look at, we put a Fibonacci here. Oops. Pop up the other way. Yeah, so we've already got a 70% retracement on gold in this price leg here. Actually, no, I'm looking at it the wrong way. Sorry, it's going bearish. All right, we got a 70% retracement this way, and then it started to sell off again some more, but it's still in the zone's internal range right now. But yeah, so I would look at the other commodities and follow suit with gold. So if the others start buying up, I would expect gold to follow. If we do see a crash in price for commodities today, and then I would, again, look for gold to follow. Yep. All right, let's get back up to where we were. Back down to the 5 minutes. Aaron Jackson, long or short? For today, we're long. We're seeking this weekly high at 17,074. In the next several minutes, half hour, or whatever, price has kind of been taking us for a little loop and not really moving out of its range here. So it's hard to say exactly if we're going to go down, touch this area, and then go up, or if we're just going to go from here and go up immediately. But for today, 17,073 is our target. Anything following that, all-time highs is around 17,700, so about another 600 points afterwards. And that's what we'd be looking to target for the week. And price is still, this blue area I have shaded here is a breaker from the 1 minute. And we had a trade below. We had a retest of the area. I thought it was going to trade out and target these lows, but it didn't. It's now traded to the above, to the upper region of the range, and still there. Now it's back down towards the middle, but it's still inside of the breaker and no closer to the high that we were targeting or the low that it could look for liquidity. So for now, there's really not a trade to take. It's just continue to monitor price. Get rid of this though. The fair value gap, we don't need that anymore. Yes, we are. Right around the exact spot we started at 10 o'clock. So it's okay. I think they're trying to trap everyone who missed out on trading yesterday and was really antsy to jump on the charts this morning. They can't wait to get you to jump into a trade and try to collect your money. Oh, you're going long, Dylan? Okay. TE short. Okay. It does look like an OTE short here. Mm-hmm. Take it because um not necessarily. We would feel a lot better if we had taken out, if this high was already taken and then we saw a strong move downwards and we saw a optimal trade entry set up with the fair value gap and all the fixings, we would feel a lot better about it that way. Absolutely. You're right about that, John. Um, but no, I don't know if that's necessarily why you wouldn't take this optimal trade entry short. Um, you still could take this one short. I tried to take a short, but recognize I tried to take a short in this area, and it was before we had the breakdown, which created the breaker. So I was a bit early. Whereas if I had taken the same trade when it returned over in this area, it right now would be moving in the direction that I felt like it should. And I was thinking that we would raid down here prior towards running last week's high. So that's one of the reasons why I stayed out, is because I've already lost the trade in the same area. And I realized I was just early, but there was no reason for me to jump in a second go. But we have a difference of opinion in this room. Some people are long, and others were looking at shorts. And based on this kind of rangy area here, both could be right. But because of that, that's probably a good reason not to trade. Just wait for the next setup or wait for more information. Great. Didn't realize that. So this area from that weekly high that we're targeting down to where potentially it could go for a swing low, which essentially is this leg here, this entire move. We're right around the 50% mark. So that's another reason to kind of pump the brakes a little bit. and see what price wants to do. Yeah, it might not be a bad idea, Dylan. But you're long on Tesla, right? Well, good luck with that. I don't think I've never traded Tesla before, but I do know a lot of people have been successful doing so. So good luck. $255 and $257. Okay. Let's pop over and take a peek at ES, see what's going on with that. With that index, it's a little cleaner. Wow, yeah. ES doesn't seem to be respecting the same breaker. 5 micros on the 50K, but limit myself to 10 pip loss per day. Yeah. If I was trading a 50K account, I'd probably do one mini maximum. And I'd be looking at it. I mean, if you can lose what 2,000 and blow the account, I would probably look at doing no more than like 200 per day. So that's gonna limit you to, if you did one mini, yeah, you'd be, I guess, what's that, 10 points in a day. And if you're doing 5 micros, you're doing half of what I just recommended. So you're actually you're doing really good, and that'll give you a load of trades before you blow an account or miss out on a challenge. So that's actually pretty good risk management. Can I make it dark mode? um, guess I could. Then I would have to. I'll take a look at dark mode when we're offline, and I'll see if I like it. But Omar, I'll give it a try and see what it looks like. All right, let's hop back over to Nasdaq. See where we are. Yeah, it seems still in the same place. Um, we did see ES not respect this same type of breaker situation. This impulse move on this side came above and closed up in this area. Um, so we may actually seek higher prices and not respect this breaker on Nasdaq as well. But we'll see. You just remove this fair value gap just to avoid any of the confusion. I mean, we do have this large area for the breaker. Um, so we'll just remember that the fair value gap is in this lower half, covering from about the 44 down to 39. But we did on this move up have one created on the bullish side, so it may actually prop price up and keep it inside of the breaker for a while, which may allow it to break out of the top and eclipse this high from about 10 after 11. Otherwise, if it doesn't support, then we'll just see price crash and it'll seek out this low down at 17,025. But for anyone who just joined and you're wondering, are we going to take a trade? If you look at price action since 10 o'clock, we're still at let's see, at 10 o'clock, I'll tell you the open price was 17,041. Now we're at 17,043. So price hasn't really moved anywhere since we've been online the last hour and a half, but we're still hopeful. And if not, we're getting some key information for where price may go this afternoon. So it's still going to be helpful. Actually, if you want a better visual, if you take a look at the lower left-hand corner, I have the 15-minute charts up with a 15-minute chart. And if you look at these candles, pretty much since the opening bell, not a lot to talk about. But while we wait for price to show us something different, gonna go and get my last cup of coffee this morning. So I'll be back in 1 to 2 minutes. Wait, I'm back and we're still in the breaker. Still in the breaker. See, we made it above the 50% mark now and closed above it. Let's see it go if it goes for a sweep of these highs at 17.052. All right, John, take care. I'll see you next time. right, retest of the mid level of the breaker. Right, about 20 minutes before lunch now. Looks like price is finally ready to move, or at least break out of this cycle that it's been since 10 o'clock. We've been for the last hour and a half kind of stuck on whether we thought it would go long or going short would be the better idea. So far, seems like neither. They both are at a stalemate. I tried a short earlier over in this range that didn't work out for me. It was a bit early. Let me see, where did I take it? I took it right in this area. We had a big push down, which broke market structure, created a big fair value gap. So on the trade back up, I looked for a short. It continued upwards, traded out of my stop loss, so it took me out of trade up here, and then immediately following dropped 40 points, which is, kind of funny how things work out. But anyway, once it dropped below and took out this low, that created the breaker that you see marked up here, which is from this candle body down to this candle body. And so on the retest, which is when I should have been taking that short, things just kind of stalled. It didn't really make a new low. So this low from 1050 is still standing. It still hasn't made a high either. It's just kind of trading in between the zones. So we've been watching it for about an hour, just trading this area without giving any indication whether the longs or shorts would be preferred at this time. And even now, it looked like price was going to break out. It looks like it went up, made equal highs, and now we see a retracement back down to the 50% level of the breaker. So it's still struggling to show a clear direction. But we're going to continue to monitor and continue watching. If you could, while we're waiting and watching, if you could hit the like button so YouTube knows that the people in this room are enjoying the content, and then it can recommend this channel to other traders looking for live sessions. And also, if this is your first time here, or if you want to make sure that you're invited to any future live sessions, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you can get those notifications, and also get the 30-minute warnings that we're getting ready to go live. Okay, we see price breaking down, heading towards that fair value gap that was marked up around 1130. Hey, maybe now is when we'll get something. Okay, so it seems like the lesson of today was patience. Patience is the lesson of the day. If you don't see a trade that you really love, then don't take it. That's the thing about trading. There's always going to be another trade. There always will be another setup. You just have to come back at another time. So if we don't get anything this session, then it's okay. We'll take a break. We'll come back during the afternoon session and hope that price is a bit more favorable. In a lot of cases, that's really what it's doing, is it's setting everyone up, creating liquidity to then have the movement that we all crave. So let's just continue being patient and see if we get something before the session ends. And otherwise, we'll just preserve our capital and come back when trading conditions are more favorable. The 1 minute fair value gap. Oh, here. Okay. Yeah, and is that actually not a bad idea? Price is definitely so far hasn't been favorable. It hasn't shown us the type of price action that we look forward to feel confident in the trade. So definitely it's a slow day. We'll come back this afternoon and see if it's a bit more favorable. But yeah, we don't want to force it because then later in the week or into next week, when price is more favorable, you realize you've blown your capital and you're no longer able to enter the trade. So yeah, let's just be cautious this week, or at least today, and wait for our A plus setup. And if we don't get it, then we don't take a trade. But yeah, thanks for that, Anis. That's a great lesson, and I'm sure we all need a gentle reminder of that sometimes. Okay, we now have the beginning of another macro session. So let's see how this macro delivers. The last macro what we saw was this low put in, and then we saw it start to build its way out of it. And essentially during the macro, it put the low in around 10:15, around 11:10, put in the high, actually a little bit afterwards. And then we never broke out of that zone. Um, Now we see during this macro, we've already taken out this swing high. We've already also, for the first time this hour, traded outside of the breaker block, above the breaker. So now we want to continue to pay attention and see if higher price is going to be sought, and we'll take out the swing low up at 17,060. 17,060. Okay, the high of the last candle has now been broken. So we see an even higher price put in. Let's see if we get a closure outside of the breaker. Okay, we did get that closure outside of the breaker. So that's good news for anyone looking for longs or looking for higher prices. Okay, we got to now a test of this volume imbalance. Right, whenever you get an area where there's no candle body, price would generally like to return to that area to make sure that it is traded into. All right, higher prices continue. We'll go ahead and mark up this swing high. 17,060 will be our high of today. Okay, so now we do see price finally trade into the volume imbalance I just spoke about. It traded below. So we don't really need this anymore. Just did want to highlight it until it traded through it, which it has now. So let's see now if we return to put in higher prices and continue towards putting in a new high for the day. We still got another 15 minutes during the macro. So yeah, we're still looking to see what the targets are for this macro, whether it's going to target this fair value gap or if we're going to continue to sweep highs en route to a new high for today. What this macro is going to do is set up the lunchtime hour, um, and then from there, and we'll have an idea of what the afternoon session may bring us. Oh man. All right, back at the 50% mark of the breaker, retesting that level. That level has held up over the last few tests. So I do expect price to bounce from here and seek a new high. Okay, another closure above the breaker. See if we can get a follow up to the last candle. So we get a trade back into the breaker now, but prior to closing, let's see if we can get above the breaker and close above again. All right, so it closed back inside of the breaker. We're now at 12 o'clock. So this is where we normally take our break. We're going to take an hour break, and after the lunch hour, we'll come back at 1 o'clock. There's another invitation for anyone who wants to join the afternoon session. I want to thank everyone from the morning session. Thanks for being here, for hanging out with us. I know price was a bit slow, but it was still educational. We still had a good time. So anyone who wants to join this afternoon, I'll be back in 1 hour. And on your way out, if you could hit the like button, that would support the channel tremendously. And also, if you like the channel, subscribe. And we'll see you on a future session. So thank you all for being here. Thank you very much. And I'll see everyone who can make it. I'll see you in an hour. Till then, talk to you later.